formally invite the president of FLO, the 38th president, to do the welcome address. She's Ujjwala Singhania from Mumbai, a very dynamic young lady. May I invite you, Ujjwala, to come and do the welcome address?
Thank you, Harjinder. A very warm welcome to all the participants from India and IWEC countries. I begin with a quote by Michelle Bachelet, former president of Chile and 7th United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. Progress for women is progress for us all. Giving priority to women is not an option, it's an obligation. Investing in women is more than a matter of fact. It also stands for good economic sense. When women work, economics grow. This is why World Bank considers gender equality as smart economics. The synergy of FLO FICCI Ladies Organization and IWEC International Women Entrepreneurial Challenge is a very pertinent example of excellent teamwork towards a common vision empowering women entrepreneurs globally. India is the most favored business destination with a robust growth, rising foreign exchange reserves, and blooming capital market, among others. We not only want to promote India as an emerging business destination, but also create a platform that will help business women expand their network, meet partners, open market, and learn from people with wide range of background and experiences. It will also be a learning ground to cultivate dynamic and innovative ecosystem and sharing best practices. The MSME sector has been hardest hit in COVID times. A viable and effective plan is must for the revival of the MSME sector. With this joint endeavor by FLO and IWEC, I'm confident that we will continue to work towards promoting entrepreneurship, facilitating business collaboration, and work towards women in business globally. Thank you.
Thank you, Ujjwala, for those very encouraging words. And may I now invite Nancy Ploeger, the Executive Director of Executive Vice President of IWEC Foundation, to come and give her special remarks. And I would request Nancy to give introduction to IWEC also. And Nancy, I must tell you that most of the past awardees of IWEC from India have joined us today in this conference. Over to you, Nancy.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, okay, thank you. We're very thrilled to be working with FICCI this morning, and one of our major partners since day one, and I'm very happy to see Mukta on the call. Good to see you, Mukta. And I really want to thank Harjinder and all of the FICCI FLO executives and your very strong organization for arranging for this joint event today. We're very excited. We know that India has a tremendous amount to offer from a business perspective, and we really want to help all of our women businesses globally connect with India and find partners on the ground. And we hope that this will be the first step for many of you in identifying women that might want to help you and become a partner for you on the ground. We know that if you're starting business in any country, you really must have, number one, the market intelligence about that arena, but also to have partners on the ground. So we hope that this will definitely get that started. So IWEC is an organization that was formed in 2007 with the Barcelona Chamber of Commerce, the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce, and FICCI FLO. Soon after joined by the US State Department, and then by the Cape Chamber in South Africa. And now we have 43 additional organizations, chambers of commerce, AmChams, and women's business groups from around the globe. We hold an annual conference every year. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we're not able to hold it last year. So we had a virtual conference. And the year before that, we were in India. I'm very happy to be there. Had a tremendous time, great educational event. and great socialization and meeting new friends. So we're very happy to do this today. And I look forward to hearing from all of you and for all of you to be making contacts. And I'm going to be also entering some information in the chat room as the event goes on. So please keep your eyes on the chat room as well. So thank you for the introduction, Harjinder. Looking very forward to this and to our continued working together for women business owners everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for those very good words for our country, India. At this point in time, I would like to invite Mrs. Mukta Jain, the lady who had signed and who had got IVEC in India or signed for IVEC on behalf of FICCI Flow. May I invite you, Mukta ji, for your kind words here?
Thank you, Harjinder. As one of the principal founders of IVEC Awards and the foundation, I always get a lump in my throat, and it's always so nostalgic whenever I think of when I was president in 2006 and 7, how just a dream became such a huge reality. And today we have women, wonderful women who are trailblazers, and what started small has expanded into this huge community of successful and, most importantly, supportive women from more than or maybe almost 50 countries today. It is a great achievement, and it's a testimony of when women decide to do something. They do it well, they do it supportively, and they do it for each other, they do it for their families, they do it for their communities, and they do it for their country and mankind together. That is what success of women and what women together mean and what it can achieve. IVEC is an example which I think has none other in comparison. And all I can say is that I wish each and every one extreme success in every venture of theirs, and extremely, extremely fond and good wishes for today and for always, and especially for IVEC, for creating these wonderful spaces for women to come together, to form friendships, to expand their businesses, and to grow the world economy. Thank you for giving me this time, Harjinder. Thank you. And Nancy, as always, it was so wonderful to see you. It brings back so many, many memories of our Barcelona together in 2007, when we all sat together and, did all of this together.
Thank you, Muktaji, for those very encouraging and loving words to us. We in IVEC are always indebted to you. So let me give you, ladies, the context of this webinar today. Why we did this, what was the purpose of doing this webinar, what was the aim that we wanted to achieve. And I must say it's a pleasure for me to join this very interesting program today, which is aimed at promoting the women in SME sector by way of global collaboration. The idea is to do global collaboration. You see, as Nancy just briefed, that IVEC Foundation is also an endeavor towards creating connections amongst women across its network. And today's program is exactly a step towards achieving this goal. There must be a question in the minds of all our viewers, who are around 150 here, that why India? And why as an investment destination, especially in the arena of SME? What makes us the destination to invest? What makes us a destination to be doing business with? Let me give you my perspective, my understanding of MSME sector of India. Why? Because we're talking about women in MSME here. We're talking about SME business here. I want to give you this perspective both as a businesswoman whose business is registered with MSME, and also as a national board member with Ministry of MSME, Government of India. So I'm very closely working with Ministry and knowing what is it that the government is doing to encourage MSME sector in India. There's no denial that these are challenging times for MSME worldwide. And in case of India, it will be no understatement that if the first wave of COVID was tough for Indian MSMEs, the second wave was like a death knell for us. And with the new Delta Plus variant on the horizon, We are already looking at the third. We have 6.3 crore MSMEs that employ 11 crore persons and contribute 48% to exports. So major part of MSME is going into export. Further to this, the government in India has launched many schemes to enhance exports. And they are aiming at that India becomes the factory to the world. Please note this statement from me that MSME ministry is aiming at that India becomes the factory to the world. So what are they doing to make India a factory to the world? They've launched multiple schemes to address the concerns of MSMEs. I will be talking to you some figures in Indian rupees and more in crores. And I want, each of our international attendees in this conference to make a note that 100 crores is equal to 1 billion so that you can do your conversions easily. So the schemes launched by India were rupees 20,000 crore subordinate debt, which is under further revision to augment the bigger impact. Rupees 3 lakh crore of collateral free automatic loans for or emergency credit line guarantee scheme, rupees 50,000 crore equity infusion through MSME fund of funds. So what does it mean that government takes a stake in your business in case the business is viable and they feel that this is a potential to grow, and they are doing an equity infusion and they are actually going very big on this. Importantly, the government just a few days back revised the guidelines on the classification of MSME. Not only now, turnover up to 250 crores keep an organization under MSME umbrella, which is a very big thing because the advantages of being an MSME are huge in this country. But the government also announced to include retail and wholesale trade under MSME, which was not earlier there, thereby enabling the retail sector to access the priority sector lending. Now, what will this move do? It will help more than 2.5 crore MSMEs in retail and wholesale sector. So what is it? What are the things that will propel MSME on the growth path in our country? I'm talking to you few takeaways here. The Prime Minister Modi-led administration targeted all areas listed in ease of doing business. So ease of doing business has become a focus of Indian government now. Visa, starting a business, paying taxes, trading across borders, resolving insolvency, a substantial leap upwards has taken place because of this. Now, there is a very proactive approach, both from the standpoint of many state governments and the central government, and in improving the business environment. All the state governments are competing with each other and they're wooing the investors. So the compliances, which earlier was a burden with India, and for the MSME sector, it has attracted attention of the government. And the government is creating a single window clearance for this. Removal of those compliances which are irrelevant is the priority of government now. There's a healthy competition now amongst the states because they want to woo the investors. Look at the large population strength of India. It can be turned into a valuable asset by imparting valuable and relevant skills. And that's what exactly Government of India are doing. They want to create a lot of micro enterprises by way of skill training and by way of training and upscale training the MSMEs. So what we want to look at, we definitely need to look, what is it that is required? Though I'll be talking to you who all have given their expression of interest to us through this webinar or in this webinar to come here. But what is required in India is definitely adoption of technology, which is required. Artificial intelligence, machine learning are essential tools for business growth. MSMEs have to explore the synergies of using them and making them a part of business operations. Digitized financial operations. Fintech has become a big thing in India, and it will emerge as a strong vertical in India to be working on. Overall digital strategy is resulting in augmentation of exports. India is a service sector trade surplus. So here India will have a major strength in case we can collaborate with the right partners here from within India and from outside India. So I must give you an example here. What is happening in Italy, a country that was much before the pandemic, a digital laggard, with less than 10% SMEs selling online as opposed to the Eurozone average of around 20%. All it took was a pandemic for them to jumpstart. and get onto the path of digitalization. Italy's booming goods export has become a driver of country's economic recovery now, and their exports have been 6% above January 2020, and I'm talking about these figures in April. So they would have further increased now. So digitalization has helped them gain into export market. This must be taken as an example by us. So what will Indian MSMEs do to become globally competitive and perform at par with their global counterparts? India has a vision. India has a vision to have a $10 trillion economy. That is Prime Minister Modi's vision. What do we need to do? We need to have innovation through R&D. We need you there. We need to use of technologies and digitalization. We need you there. We need to adhere to global quality and standards. You will tell us that. We have a cost competitiveness advantage, which is definitely our strength. And we need to forge partnership with big players. We need you again there. All these will need us to forge strong partnerships globally. And through this session, we look forward to achieve this. I thank you all for this. And as we proceed further, I will tell you our the way forward of this webinar. How did we do? What was the purpose? And how do we plan to do the collaboration? It is very, very important for me, to all the international viewers here, to tell them that what has been the experience of doing businesses in India. I would like to invite on one very successful woman entrepreneur, Jyotika Jhalani. Jyotika Jhalani has been a woman who has done wonderfully well, taking the handicrafts of India, taking the designs of India, working on Indian fabric, Indian crafts, and then making it big in international market. Today, she is a name to reckon with in international arena. I would like to call upon Jyotika Jhalani to please give her perspective to our members who are there in this webinar and tell her success story. Tell us the do's and don'ts. Tell us what is it that she did right and what is it that she did to make herself what she is today. Over to you, Jyotika.
Thank you very much. That was a very, very, I would say, overwhelming introduction. It's a really interesting story for me. It's not something which I would say is normal because I come from a very different background. I spent 10 years with the World Bank. I actually left school. I'm a school dropout at 16. I'm 58 years old today. And I would, with great pride, say that India, I feel, is one of the best countries representing craft and our heritage very well across the globe. I decided to go back to my roots 25 years ago, which will be celebrated next year. I come from Kashmir. I come from a family of two parents who both came from Pakistan after partition and settled in Kashmir. So that's my only, I would say, my background is in design. I did not study design. To me, India has a great heritage. My karigars, my workers are the ones who really have created who I am today. To me, I had a vision of creating the Made in India label as not that one that was created just for the high street, but for a luxury brand. And I think today we are one. We are there in every large luxury store, whether it's Bergdorf Goodman in New York, Harrods in London, all the Lane Crawfords across the globe. And also I have 5 of my own stores and hopefully many more as we go along. I think the success came from a very simple understanding that to become the best, you have to go to the best. So we started designing for all the top labels, starting from Hermes, Ferragamo, Chanel, Dior. I didn't stop at any. We designed for about 19 labels, and everybody kept saying that you're designing for all these labels. What about your own? My kids were growing up then. I have a 36-year-old daughter who's a film director today, and a 37-year-old son who now has opened Janvi, Mexico. He lives there. And we decided that, for us to become who we are today, we have to learn from the best. So I allowed them to teach me, and I learned at their expense. You know, when you haven't had a formal education, you really don't stop at anything. You just say, let the world teach you. Let the world become your teacher. And even though I was from modern school and I was a topper, examinations weren't for me. I decided that I would very humbly let the world decide whether we could become the best. And today I just think that we definitely have reached that stage where we would be considered as the world #1 brand, because we don't have any competition. Nobody does what we do. We have everything in-house. I have around 400 workers. We make our own cashmere. We're a cashmere brand. That's how I started. We made shawls because I just felt for the karigars, a shawl was a canvas that they could play with. I would give them an idea and I'd say, okay, fine, today it's a day that we're going to make butterflies. And we would just embroider butterflies on a shawl. And our butterfly shawls would become a big seller. I think I've had a great humbling experience working with a very, very talented team. I have a fantastic executive team. And I would thank everybody who's touched the hearts of people at Janvi. I've had great mentors. I've had an absolutely fantastic retail partner, which is DLF. We opened our first retail store at DLF Emporio, and there hasn't been any looking back since. Everybody keeps asking me, do you need private equity funding? Are you going to start an IPO? What's going to be your next plan? And, you know, we opened, of course, at Emporio. Then we started Chanakya. We have opened in Jaipur in lovely Raj Mahal. And we're now opening in September in Zurich, which is where I just came back from, a lovely store called Maison Gassman from 1882. So it's now going to be called Janvi Gassman, and I take great pride in that. So I don't have any major plans of like, you know, getting into huge amount of funding and stuff like that, because I'm a small dot in the ocean. But yes, of course, I do think I have great plans of expanding. And I think the expansion will happen over the next couple of years. And hopefully then we do become the world's #1 brand, because I have collaborated with one of the most amazing companies in Italy. Alessandro is the #1 brand out of a lovely little place called Lucca. He is the only other person who makes for all the other brands, for LV and Loro Piana and everybody, but he does the logo scarves. So the good thing about Janvi is that we do everything and anything. When somebody says we want a personalized shawl, we're ready to do it for them. And I think the good thing also about Janvi is that we've managed to keep to quality, which has been my biggest strength. I'm becoming a quality control person. I look in all the bad in the good. So maybe that's what's got me so far. And the challenges, which most people talk about, for me have been that the consistency in people. I think Indians need to become a little more committed to what they do and what they say. I have found that being quite a challenge. I think working with China taught me a lot. It's one of my biggest buyers. We supply to a private luxury brand out there. And, you know, the Chinese do it. They may have brought COVID to India and the rest of the world. Scary, but they're very committed. And the rest of Europe, of course, is fantastic. The Italians do it really well. The French know exactly what they're doing. They're on point. So working with all these French, Italian, even American brands like Ralph Lauren, Anthropologie has been a great brand to work with. I've learned a lot from the world. And like I said, for me, my learning has been life. My message to everybody, all the ladies at Flow, and this amazing flat platform that I've been given a chance. Harjinder, thank you very much again. Very sweet of you. She called me one day when I was in Italy and she said, I'd like to give something to, you know, some gifting. And that's how we got talking again. Has been a very simple one. we as Indians, especially women, I just spoke on Isha Lupas on the 8th of July, and that was again another very challenging talk, which was a 1 hour talk. But I'm sorry, I know I don't have very much time on this forum. Was that women don't believe in themselves? I do. I think every woman needs to believe she's a mother, she's a wife, and I think women have far more to offer than they believe they have. And I think every woman has created at least the narrative of what she wants to, and she needs to believe in herself. I think it's conditioning that I can't do it. I just go out and say I can do it, just like Nike does. So even though that's not my statement, my thing is very simple. My mother changed my name at the age of 12. I was Savita for 12 years of my life. It wasn't easy to be changed from Savita to Jyotika, but Savita is the sun. Jyotika is a light from the sun, so I still remain in that same, realm. Janvi means the river Ganga.
Look.
Ganga doesn't stop flowing. I will continue to flow. We will continue to find our path, and we will continue to always find the right path. So we've actually moved from shawls, which will always be our forte. I had a grandbaby, little child 3 years ago, so we started Janvi Baby. And of course, Janvi Home is our biggest strength. We've just tied up with Suzanne Khan with a fantastic collection. And we were just talking today. I said, Suzanne, come on, let's rock it. We don't need Ritik to rock us. So I keep, coming up with a lot of partnerships. We did Abu Sandeep 2 years ago. And I will continue to have partnerships because I think the strength a woman gets is by not dependency, but by telling each other. In fact, Ishita Salgaonkar, a lovely young photographer, Deepthi Salgaonkar's daughter, and I've just tied up a lovely partnership just today. And we're coming up with the safari range. So the whole thing about Janvi is our partnerships, our understanding where we want to go. And I think the sky's the limit. I'm not stopping. I think Elon Musk and Richard Branson reached the moon. I'm going next.
That's so nice. That's so well said. That's the power of a woman who believes in herself. That's the power of a woman who's done it so big. India is proud of you, Jyotika.
Thank you.
We are very happy to present you to these lovely ladies who are here. Many of you raised hands, so can I request we will invite you to talk after this, after we finish these talks, which will take us some couple of minutes more.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So my next, I want to invite Annette Bernstein from Israel, a very good friend of mine, a dynamic young lady who has done a lot of work with India. I met her when we went to Israel on a delegation, and there she is. I would like to present her to you because she is the one who's collaborated with many Indian companies, whereas Jyotika is the one who is worked out of India. Annette is the one who is worked in India. So I present to you, Annette. Annette, over to you. Can I also request you to keep it limited to 5 minutes because of little time, Annette? Thank you.
Of course, thank you. It is so inspiring to be talking up after Jyoti. I mean, since working in India, I have such a big collections of shawls, and I'm not willing to give it as gifts when I get a gift. And each shawl that I get is special. So this is the bonus of working in India. Whether it's the Arjinder, the shawls that you gifted me in Israel, or shawl that I got from Sushma Swaraj when she came to Israel about 10 years back, or even a simple shawl that I got from Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. So each shawl actually is a story. And when Jyotika spoke about the shawls, I really would be happy to get a shawl from you. So
you're definitely getting one right now with your name on it and from India with love. Sorry for interjecting.
Thank you. Now I have 4 minutes to tell you about my journey. So my journey to India started actually in the US. I'm talking to you now from Israel. I'm the chairperson of the Israel-India Chamber of Commerce. Thanks to FICCI FLO, we are also members in IWEC, and I'm happy to see you, Nancy, today. So this is the Women Network. I'm a lawyer, had my MBA in the US, and in the US I met an Indian guy. At that time I thought that he was really old. He was 53. So now I have a perspective. And together we started a telecom company that built networks between the US and India. He said I had enough of India. He lived in the Silicon Valley, and he sent me young lady, a lot of guts and bold and very innocent also, I would say, to go to India and start a company. The company was named Across World Communications. And we teamed up with the Department of Telecom, with CMC. We built a network in India. And, you know, it's now over 20 years. And when I look at retrospect, I'm telling myself, what guts did I have to do that? At that time, there were hardly women that I worked with. It was mainly men around me. And when I compare it for today and the kind of women network that we created, not just between Israel and India, but the IWEC and all the entire networks that is being created between the women organization, we are much stronger those days. And this network support itself. At that time, I felt alone in that sense. For Israelis, I mean, my startup collapsed in the bubble of October 2000. I came back to Israel. I started my firm, A&G Partners, and I took Israeli companies to India. And for Israelis at that time, India was not very appealing. For them, it was cheap labor, textile, poverty. That's the notion of India. And now that I have a perspective of almost 3 years, Israeli talk differently. They see the market, they see the growing middle class, they see the manpower, they see the skills. For years, I said that India is the gateway to the Arab world. Now with the peace treaty that we have with UAE and Bahrain, still India is relevant because there is a big community also in those countries that is for the Israeli, the entrance to those markets. It's not easy to do business in India for Israelis. The cultural gap is big. When Israeli wants something and you ask him, when do you need it? He will tell you yesterday. That's the answer. And the India time and the way the process, it's a bit challenging for Israelis. And that's what we're doing in my company, in my organization. We are bridging the gap of culture, and the gap is getting closer also with the time. India is becoming much more prompt. The skills, the management skills are almost in par with the Israelis. And the Israelis are not, I would say, prompt like European or other nations. We also look at things Shanti. We also use Jugad. So there is a proximity in several aspects. My 5 minutes are over, and it's very short for 20 years of perspective. But I think that what we're doing in such a session is easing the doing business in India, because we created the network. And last week we had a session with Ujwala and Harjinder and the FICCI FLO. And the intention is to create more network, more women to women that enables, that facilitate, that create relations that make doing business in India, for Israelis anyway, much easier. So thanks for inviting me today. And I'm happy to be always with such good friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. That was so wonderfully said. So here is Annette, who is now very excited of working with India. And she feels that the gap she had earlier, or gap that Israelis were feeling earlier, is getting closer and people are more open to working with India, and it's easier working with India. And that's what exactly I said in my remarks, that ease of doing business has definitely become Government of India's focus, and they are working overtime on it. So now the time has come where we will be talking about the women who had signed up for this B2B collaboration that we're talking to you about today. While Nancy would be writing the names and the description of all these women, let me get on to a talk as to why did we do this and what was the purpose. I request each one of you to go through the chat box where the names and what the women are doing in their respective field and where they're looking for a collaboration is written out there. Any one of you who is interested in these, please tell us, raise your hands, and we'll be very happy to help you in. In fact, the purpose of doing this was that we wanted to promote SME sector, and then we circulated the expression of interest. Nancy, while I'm talking, can you please start writing the names of the women who have written to us for this collaboration? Thank you.
Yes, Harjinder, I've been adding them all along. I have a couple more, but I'm putting them in. And Wendy Shen is actually in the event, so maybe you want to give her some time to say hello.
Yes, of course. So, in fact, Wendy, why don't you just come and tell us what is it you're looking for? Though we can't give time to everyone who's sitting, but we definitely like to invite you to tell us what is it you're looking for from India. Over to you, Wendy.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Hello, everybody. Oh, we see more than 100 people here. I'm so happy to see everybody all the time in the WhatsApp. And thanks for the time. I'll make it short. We're buying from India right now, wrapping paper, gift bags, gift tissue, stationery item, and I'm looking for more paper product from India. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. So as I said, please make note of the names that are coming. Is there anybody else who is wanting to come and talk about their expression of interest of working with India? In the meantime, I would like to ask FLO President, Ms. Ujjwala Singhania, as to how can she help us doing this? If there are any women who are coming from IVEC network to be wanting to do business in India, what is it that FLO can extend? Over to you, Ujjwala. Ujjwala, are you there?
You are on mute, Ujjwala ji.
Sorry, just give me a minute. FLO and IVEC have been working towards a common goal of promoting women entrepreneurship and enabling global trade. With the kind of outreach that both FLO and IVEC has, it is an opportune time to deepen the synergies between them. Every country has its own USP, which can be showcased through this joint platform. And this platform could be a powerful catalyst in facilitating business expansion, network building, collaboration, business tie-up, and open markets. We'll also continue to do such joint programs with IVEC Foundation to look at newer dimensions to create more vibrant and interactive ecosystem of women in business. Over to you, Harjinder.
Thank you, Ujjwala. I would like to invite other interests that had come to us to please come. We have some 5 minutes before we proceed for the concluding remarks. So if anybody is interested, please raise your hands and most welcome to come and share your experiences and your expressions here. Okay. I must say, when I went through this list of women who had written to us for trying and collaborate with the women in India, the list was big and exhaustive. The people were there, the ladies were there who were there in handicrafts. The ladies were there who were in energy sector. The ladies were there who were in gas sector. The ladies were there who were in construction. The ladies were there who were in pharmaceuticals. The ladies were there who were in bitumen. The ladies were there who were in construction, and they were looking to tie up. I mean, this was tremendous for me to see that not only the ladies who were there from, handicrafts and general consumer products, but also to heavy industrial products who are ready to collaborate. I welcome each one of you to write back to us in case you're looking for a partner from India. We had a tremendous response from India who were wanting to work outside India. And we want same kind of response from the women who want to invest in India. One good thing about India is that in case you have a local partner here, it's very, very easy for you to work here. They understand the demography, they understand the work culture here, and they are in general honest people. So if anybody wants to say anything, or if there is any comment from anybody, you're most welcome to talk. Is there anything, Nancy, that you would like to add here?
Nancy, sorry, I'm busy trying to copy and paste everyone into the chat. Sorry about that. I would say, Harjinder, that if there's a way to capture in the tape all of the chat and share the chat with everyone, because there's people writing into the chat room that aren't speaking, that I think would be a great connection. So when your tech people are going through the event, if they could capture the chat, and then you can send that out to everyone who registered, that would be great.
For sure, Nancy, we will do this. This is a very good suggestion, and we will do this. Requesting IT team to please do this. May I now? Yeah, thank you, President. May I now request the Global Ambassador of IVEC Foundation and GB member of FLO, Lalita Nijhawan, to give the concluding remarks.
Harjinder. Well, I would like to thank FLO and IVEC for coming together on this collaborative effort, introducing access to trade and growth for women in SME, and of course, for promoting India as an emerging business destination. I would first like to thank our President, Ujjwala Singhania, for taking the charge in business promotions and taking led businesses forward. And thank you to IVEC Executive, Nancy Ploeger, for arranging this webinar. It has been an insightful experience on a rapidly growing segment of the Indian economy. I have observed that you have worked very hard for IVEC, Nancy. I had a chance to meet you in Brussels, and I saw you working there very efficiently, and you have been always very participative. Today, I think where IVEC has reached to a large extent is due to your hard work. And of course, thanks to our past president, FLO and India chair of IVEC, Harjinder Kaur Talwar, for her talk on ease of doing business in India. Now she's in the government and the governing body. She also knows the government so closely. And Harjinder, your hard work and personal experiences as an independent businesswoman have really shown through. And we are so proud of you. And you have really stood by the women in MSME sector, and FLO women are lucky that you are in the Ministry of MSME. Here I would also like to thank Mukta Jain for your lovely introduction. She's the founder member, and she keeps in touch with all of us on our WhatsApp group of IVEC and encourages us all the time. Thank you, Mukta, for guiding us over the years and being a guiding light, and especially for the foundation that you created. I also want to thank Jyotika. That was an amazing story you shared, Jyotika, and your experience of doing Indian business globally, your rich experience of dealing with delightful Indian fabrics and sharing it with the world is a great national treasure, according to me. Your life story is an inspirational one. Like you said, believe in yourself. And I think it's so true about women. We have to believe in ourselves. Coming to Annette Bernstein, who's for sharing your experiences. Here, I would like to tell you one thing, Annette. We were handling British Airways in India and had a chance to be friendly with one of Israeli friend who was the marketing head of British Airways. She used to have Indian food at my place, and she developed in British Airways business class. She told everybody why Indian food cannot be served. And she was the first one in India to start in British Airways. I'm talking of 90s, I think, when she started the Indian food for the British Airways passengers and for all Indians. And we were also happy. And thank you, we owe a lot to Israel anyway. And also, I want to thank the women who have signed up for B2B collaboration. And I think the list is being prepared. And I'm very certain that with the assistance of Flo, IVEC, and with today's webinar, that you all will soar high in whatever business venture you aspire. Thank you all for this lovely evening and a good attendance and insightful discussion on conducting business in India and its various highlights. I am certain that this will become an inspiration for many others as well. Have a great evening, and thank you all once again to all the viewers over here and the viewers from Western world. Thank you so much. We can leave now, IT team. Anything else, Harjinder, Nancy?
No, we will send the chat to everyone. I think IT team, you're requested to end.